This is Beetle, Cricket, Jack, Pippa, and Ari, and today I'll be sewing projects for each of them, starting with the rats. I'm gonna make a rat cube. Basically it's a cube that they can go into, and I use this fleece fabric, which is bug themed, that I got super cheap when Joann's was closing, RIP. Most of the projects today are just a bunch of squares, so I'm cutting 6 squares out of this fabric, and then I'm gonna cut 6 squares out of a cotton fabric. One thing I love about the rats is they love absolutely everything I give them. I could give them a literal bug and they're all over it. The cats are very different. Jack will literally try to open pizza boxes to eat a slice of pizza, but fancy gourmet treats? Nope, turns his nose up at them. And Pippa struggles to find treats right in front of her most of the time. At this point, you might realize that I am not cutting squares, which I was supposed to do. I somehow confused the numbers 11 and 13. Please forgive me, I have 4 concussions. So I'm gonna remeasure and then cut those extra 2 inches off. At the end, I should have 6 squares, 2 of which I cut off screen. Now I'm gonna do the same thing, cutting 6 squares, but out of this cotton fabric this time, and I'm not gonna make the mistake of not cutting an actual square, so I'm just gonna use my already cut fabric as a template. I got Beetle and Cricket from a litter of rats that's mom was saved from being snake food, and now they live their best life with me. The first step after cutting is making our entrances. So we're gonna lay one fleece fabric and one cotton fabric right sides together and sew a circle in the center. After that's sewn, I'm gonna cut out the circle, just the inside part, and then I'm gonna cut a bunch of notches so it can turn easily, and then top stitch around the circle once I flip it inside out. It'll make sense more when you see it. I did not cut enough notches the first time, so I go back in and cut quite a few more so that it lays nice and flat. Now I just pin around that circle and top stitch. And I'm gonna do this for both of my opening pieces. After that's done, I'm gonna start making my sides. So basically I'm gonna put the fleece fabric together and the cotton fabric together. So there's like a sandwich, and then stitch right along there. And then it's all right sides together. If you want to make this yourself, I got the pattern from ratropolis.com. I'll do the link in the description. And they have a bunch of really cool stuff. You can make rats and ferrets and other small critters. After I get that one edge sewn, I'm going to flip it like so. And I'm going to grab my other opening piece. And I'm going to cut off my little bit of excess that was on this piece from the cotton fabric. And I'm going to lay my one down like that, put my other one on top, and match up my fleece sides so they're right sides together. And I'm going to pin those two together. And then the next step is the burrito method. So basically all that excess fabric on our long piece, we're going to roll up, and then we're going to flip our cotton pieces so that they're right sides together like that. It's really hard to explain, but there's some better videos on YouTube you can look up. And the two edges we just pinned, we can take out one of the pins and pin it all together. So we're going to be sewing the 4 pieces of fabric, and the cotton's going to have the 2 cotton pieces right sides together, and the fleece is going to have the 2 fleece pieces right sides together. The purpose of this method is so that when it's all done, there's no raw edges. I'm going to sew the next side panel the same as the first side panel, and that's because it's solid and it doesn't have that hole in the center. The final side piece, we're going to do the same as the second side piece with the burrito method. So now that we have all the sides of the cube, the next step is attaching the bottom. And I'm going to do that in 4 steps. So first, I'm going to attach everything right sides together, and I'm just going to attach this first cotton piece, and it's just the first edge. I'm also going to get that fleece piece on the inside, and it's all right sides together. So the fleece is right sides together, and the cotton is right sides together. And I'm going to sew along that seam. Once that's sewn, I'm going to flip it so that the right sides of the cotton pieces are still right sides together with this second edge. So I'm just flipping it like 90 degrees or something and sewing along that seam now. And my squares aren't perfectly square, so I'm gonna have to like finagle it a little bit to get it all to work, but it doesn't really matter, it's for a rat. So I'm going to basically do that same step for each of the 4 sides. For the last seam, I sewed all the way around the edge. This was a mistake. So now I have to seam rip a little hole so I can flip it inside out. And the last step to attaching the bottom is just sewing these holes closed. For some of them I just did a zigzag stitch, and then some of them I hand stitched. To make the loops in which I hang it from, I'm cutting bias tape, 3 inches long, 4 pieces, and I'm going to attach these while I attach the top. The top is attached the same way as the bottom was, except you sandwich the little loops in between. Project 2 is for the cats. It's a insert for this bin I got at Target. Currently, it's just a bunch of pieces of paper and that one piece of fleece, so I can definitely make an upgrade. The materials I used is fleece, this baby crinkle material that I bought off Amazon, although you can just use like a plastic bag, and then also a little tiny bit of stuffing. I only need one layer of each piece of fleece, so I'm separating those out, and then you guessed it, I'm cutting a square. I use the bin itself as a guide. Here's that crinkle material. I'm gonna cut a square the same size as my other squares. Jack and Pippa were both rescues. Jack was just adopted and Pippa was a foster fail. Pippa is mostly blind and Jack has no teeth, so they're both a little messed up. To construct it, I'm going to lay my two fleece pieces together, right sides together. Ignore this part. But I'm going to lay my two fleece pieces right sides together and then lay my plastic on top. And then I'm going to sew all the way around the edge, leaving a gap so I can flip it inside out. Once sewn, I'm going to clip my corners and then flip it inside out. The crinkle fabric should be sandwiched between the two fleece fabrics. Once that's done, I'm going to add a little bit of stuffing, not that much, they don't really like it when it's too poofy, so I'm going to add a little tiny bit, and then once that's done, I'm going to top stitch around the edge so that little opening closes up and that the edge looks nice and pretty. Once that's all done, I just plop it in the basket and give it to the cats. Project 3 is also for the cats. It's a super simple cat toy. What you'll need is fabric, the crinkle material, stuffing, and beads or rice or something like that to make the toy heavy. I'm going to start by figuring out the size of my toy. I made it about this big so they can grab onto it, and then I'm going to cut it. I used this really textured material, which they really love so they can grab their nails into it. Next, I'm going to take a piece of the crinkle material and cut it to the same size as my fabric piece. To assemble, I'm going to put my crinkle fabric on the wrong side of my fabric, and I'm going to fold everything in half and clip it all together, and then I'm going to sew mostly along the edge, leaving an opening to flip. Now I'm gonna flip it inside out. I forgot to clip my corners, but you should do that. Once flipped, I'm gonna stuff it with stuffing and the beads that I have. The beads were just from an old toy my dog destroyed, so I just repurposed them. And the last step is to just sew that opening closed. I just used a zigzag stitch. I was gonna make something for my dog, but I just took her to the beach instead, and I think she enjoyed that more than anything I could have made.